All right, so I had like a really amazing call with a new client yesterday. Well, they're not a client yet, but we had it was actually incidentally somebody that I had trained at their bar at a hotel in Midtown 10 years ago. And just somehow they remembered my name, and and they mentioned that it was because of my newsletters, because I had sent out a bunch of newsletters, and they're like, oh yeah, remember Jason Littrell. So this is called top of mind, being top of mind, which is why if you're a bar, restaurant, a brand, then staying top of mind is very, very important, because they will oftentimes think of you in the times that you would least expect it. And so that is the value of that. And because it's emails, it is much more likelihood that it's going to get read. So just when you go into general email marketing basics, the object of the game is to get your email delivered, read, and acted upon. And those are generally speaking understood by a couple different key metrics. So if your emails are not being opened, so first of all, the first part of it is lead generation. So if you're like, okay, well, I want people to opt into my newsletter, and that typically means that you have some sort of a value, or you said, hey, listen, I'd like to send you emails, and then people opt into your email list. Sometimes that comes in the form of a lead magnet, which is when you say, here's a checklist, here's a template, here's a system, here's a piece of value, here's a piece of information that is valuable to you. You press a button, opt in, get the payload of value in an email, and then you're opted into your email list. And then I follow up with you with a newsletter or an indoctrination sequence saying, here's more about the stuff that you liked, and here's how to work with us if that's what you want to do. And that's how it is. And so the things that you look for with emails are the emails being opened? So if the email isn't being opened, what's the problem? Maybe it's the subject line. And if it's not the subject line, then maybe the email isn't getting delivered, or it's ending up in the spam folder or the promotions folder. There's an art and a science to this. And nobody's better at this whole game than Yahoo, Google, and Outlook, because they're the ones that have these massive filters that make sure that your emails are getting blocked if they don't feel like they're relevant. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. There's like DMARC records and like SPF records and all this other stuff. I'm not going to get into that now because I'm not that tech savvy on it, but there is a lot to it. If you need help with it, let me know. Okay, so if your emails are not getting open, then it's either not being delivered or the subject line sucks. Now, what we do with our campaigns is we will resend an email if it wasn't opened. And so like we can track that. And so like we have a workflow that says like, was the email opened? Yes or no? If no, then we'll wait a little bit, like a couple days, and then resend the same email with a different subject line to see if that was more interesting to the person who opted in. And then that's the game. And then so like if people don't act on the email, then as in if they don't click what you want them to click, or go where you want them to go, then you want to make sure that you want to wonder why. And so that's why we A/B test. It's called A/B testing, which is where you try the same thing a couple different ways to see what responds. Now, this could be different fonts, different letters, different colors, different words, different subject lines, that kind of stuff. And A/B testing is really important, especially if you have a very large campaign. Like for instance, I'm about to start working with a very, very large client, a famous rapper who has a spirit brand and a champagne brand. And that is what we're going to be doing a lot of, because we have a huge sample audience. So just to benchmark your email campaigns and to kind of have an understanding of what like are good metrics. Let's say that your open rate, a good open rate is around 20%. Our open rates are typically in the low 40s, depending on which campaign and when. But like the best highest average that we've gotten is in like 43%. That's 4 out of 10 emails being opened that we send. Now, but if you're getting 2 out of 10, that's still pretty good. The next thing we look at is bounce and unsubscribe. And if they bounce, then your email list needs to be cleaned. If you're getting a lot of bounces, then that's going to impact your sender reputation, which is bad. So if you have a bad sender reputation and they do keep track, then they may just preemptively block your emails. So you don't want that either. So you want to make sure you're sending good emails. And then if you're a subdomain, we recommend sending from subdomains, because you don't want to have like we send from like mail.domain.com or m.domain.com. And then we divide it up between transactional emails and like value emails, newsletters, et cetera. They each have their own subdomain, so that in case people complain or spam, or if we make a mistake or whatever, then we're only burning one element of a subdomain. It gets very technical, and my job is to spare you from all that. But my job is also to get your message in front of people. So some good benchmarks are 20% open rate, less than 5% bounce rate, probably closer to 2%. Any more than 2%, and then you're kind of in a suspect. Anywhere above 5%, you're at risk of getting your domain blacklisted, which is bad. You either have to fight that or start over again and warm up a new domain. And then a good click rate is like 2 or 3%. So that means like two out of 100 people that receive your emails are actually clicking the link. And then that's when we start really tracking conversion into a sales pipeline, as in like if we were getting somebody to looking for somebody to buy something or attend an event or take some sort of a meaningful action, then we put them into a pipeline where that has automations. And if they don't do anything after they've done that, then we start to re-engage them in context. So we start to say, okay, well, we noticed that you did this, and what happened? You didn't buy, so tell us why. Like help us understand what's going on, and then we follow up until they buy or give us feedback or whatever. But that's kind of email marketing in a nutshell. I wasn't even planning on getting into all that, but because I have all these things to do. So that's like email marketing, and that's kind of what we do. But email is one of the most effective and cost-effective ways to get your message out there. It's cheaper than advertising. It's cheaper than almost anything. The only thing that's better than that is text messaging. But so the compliance, there's federal compliance around emails. Like, we don't want to bother people unnecessarily. You only want to email people that want your stuff, and that's called CAN spam compliance. But the only thing better than emails as far as open rates, is text messages, which have a 98% open rate. And so those text messages, there's even more compliance, and it's probably going to get even more and more strict. And it's really, really crazy. That's called A2P 10 DLC compliance. So the thing that we're testing right now is kind of a hybrid of these two things. Very high open rate, very direct messaging. But you have to very carefully craft the message and make sure that you are disclosing who you are, what you're doing, and why. This is mostly reserved for warm relationships. So text messaging, you don't just text somebody out of the blue. That's not only illegal, it's also ineffective, and it pisses people off. But the thing that we're testing right now is actually Instagram DMs Facebook DMs. So we have softwares and systems that we can actually kind of go check, send an email to all your followers, send a DM to all your followers saying that, or send DMs to all the people in a certain group or whatever it is, and then put them into kind of a separate CRM that says these people have been reached out to, these people are interested, these people are not interested. But we do have to do some really wacky stuff, because Facebook is very, very strict about this, about how you communicate with people, especially with DMs. So we limit the amount of DMs that you can send in a day. I think it's about 100, maybe 300. And every single DM has to be separate and different. And so we space them out, with a random number of seconds between 5 and 15, I think it is. So it could be 7 seconds difference, it could be 9 seconds difference. And then we use a variation of a technology called syntax. So syntax is when you put various parts of a sentence together. And then so you'll have salutations over here, then you'll have middle things, then you'll have calls to action, right? So that's just a kind of a simplified way to do it. But you'd be like, greetings are like, hey, Mike, hello, Mike, or greetings, salutations, you can have 10 different ways that you say hi to people, and then 10 different ways to be like, hey, listen, are you still looking to get your brand in front of, are you still looking to make more money at your bar? And then you're like, cool, thanks, Jason. Or thanks, and I hope to hear from you, Jason. And then you can do that in any number of ways. And so if you have, it's like 3 to the third power of numbers of different pieces of communication that you can have with people, and that makes it possible for you to communicate with an enormous amount of people, and it feels very unique, and you can automate it. So it seems very cold and automated, and it is. But it is a broad world out there, and I'm guessing that you didn't spend your life savings on building your bar or your brand to not get in front of people. And so this is kind of one of the ways to do that. So that's all I got for you today. If you ever need help with any of this stuff, if you want to get in front of more people, let me know. My name is Jason, and I will see you soon.